I audible? Can anyone currently hear me? Or by a show of hands? Okay. So because we're recording this webinar, we're just going to start. Sorry about the hiccup that we've had on the previous meeting link. So why are we here today? This is a pre-World Water Week 2026 insight for us to understand what has been going on in this sector. So as maybe not all of us, but most of us know that the World Water Week has been something that has been occurring each and every year ever since its inception as Stockholm Water Symposium, and that was in early 1991. So when 2001 period came, that was when the name changed to World Water Week, and that is what we adopted. And since then, it has been a trusted platform where everyone from the globe can be able to tune in and participate in matters on water. So just a brief introduction. My name is 𝗪𝘁𝗲𝗿𝗲. For those that might not know me, my name is 𝗪𝘁𝗲𝗿𝗲, and I'll be heading you through this pre-World Water Week webinar. And I am an events coordinator at the Kenya Youth Parliament for Water. So thank you. So on behalf of the Kenya Youth Parliament for Water, I would want to welcome all of you to this pre-World Water Week session. As we all know, maybe not all of you, but I do know, but Kenya Youth Parliament of Water exists because it believes that young people are not just tomorrow's leaders, and our lives and our voices needs to be heard in order to shape our country into a better sustainable future. So for this year 2026, the theme for the World Water Week is water for people and for progress. And this is just more than a slogan because it's a call to action that we must be able to meet as individuals and as young people in this sector. And looking into Kenya, especially in the previous months, we were devastated in some sort of issues which were concerning the floods that struck a number of counties here in Kenya. And this shows how directly water governance really affects lives, because if the infrastructure and the technology and the information was to be communicated before time, then we will be able to mitigate some of the problems that we faced at then. So moving over to maybe just a question. Imagine you as an individual waking up tomorrow and every drop of water that you touch has a price tag. How much will you spend on your first liter? So maybe you'll just put that on your chart. But to be honest, looking into how much us as individuals, even how I've been brought up by the society, we have, or I have been in a position that I feel that water is in abundance. So small areas in terms of closing fully the taps, mitigating on the number of drops that is wasted when a tap is leaking. Because when you come to understand that every drop is life, and when you look into water, not just as a basic resource, but as a major building block, which is for our ecosystems as well as now our future as well. Our environment, our livelihood, and our well-being wouldn't be the same as it is now if water was out of the equation. We get to eat from to eat food that is propagated by water. We get to live by consuming water. And we also get to use a lot of these equipments and materials through water. I can give an example on transportation, vehicles being one of them. A vehicle without a proper cooling mechanism will not be able to take you from point A to point B. And the same way, I'm holding a pencil, but this is actually a recycled pencil from paper waste. So the paper waste came from landfills, and the landfills ecosystem in terms of recycling, water is a basic resource. So when we're looking at it from the overall point of view into how we're using water on our daily lives, then we get to understand that it's an important aspect that we need to understand how uh, the world utilizes it and how we are able to manage and protect it as well. So I had asked you a question on you imagining waking up tomorrow and that every drop of water that you see and use has a price tag, and how much will you spend, maybe especially on your first liter. Then as you think about it, maybe you can raise your hand on your area if you've drank water today, and if you know where it exactly came from, maybe keep it up. I drank water today. I know where it came from because I bought it from my water vendor just right outside my home. But from that point, do I know where it came from? To be honest, I do not. And these are some of the questions that we should ask ourselves, because it being an abundant resource and us using it and utilizing it, sometimes we forget to ask ourselves the bigger picture and the bigger question, because we are using safe, reliable water for drinking and for cooking as well. And we can also use it for other purposes. But the processes in terms of how the cleaning aspect, how we are able to be able to ensure that we have reliable, clean and safe water is an aspect that we must all appreciate. So, Mark, Max, I've seen that you've raised your hand. Was there anything you wanted to
Could you
talk?
please switch off your videos because it's hanging from my side. I think maybe for the network issue.
Is that okay? Pardon? Okay, so going to the next slide on the now introduction. So as I mentioned before, the World Water Week began as Stockholm Water Symposium, and that was way back in Sweden in 1991. And the reason as to why there is this convention is because we must, as humans and as beings living in this world, understand the important aspect that water plays in our daily lives. We do understand that currently, maybe we can view water as just something to consume, but it's much more than that. And we must understand how each and every different aspect, especially in terms of generation, usage, and even downstream in terms of other people using waters, are able um, to benefit from it. So this is a convention that started way back before I was born. But I'm happy to be part of a system or a collective community where we will be able to also ensure that this sort of dialogue is also um, continued to the next generation as well. So this sort of convention, and what makes it more unique, is that it brings a lot of different collectives into one place. It brings politicians, it brings decision makers, it brings the youth, it brings people on policy, and on this sort of table, they are able to come up with solutions that are able to drive now better policies in terms of water usage, water health, because if we do look into it, the only way to solve this crisis is not on a closed door, maybe on a political gathering, but allowing the space to drive change by integrating each and every other person that is affected, especially in this sector, because water is a resource just as oxygen for every other living being, including animals as well. So we must be able to protect it, even for the future generations as well. So the World Water Week, as I said, is a critical space that addresses the most important pressing issues, that is water. But this helps bring a lot of voices across the globe, and it also helps in building of partnerships as well as shape policies and give different solutions. Because when you think about it, taking people from different spaces, bringing them together, looking into mind that they've been having different problems, then you'll be able to get solutions that will be able to address the current problems that you're facing. But why? What is the purpose for the World Water Week? Why have they been doing it ever since 1991 till now? So the first purpose is just to provide a neutral ground for stakeholders to discuss the water-related challenges. Then encourage also the cross-sector dialogue that drives now the SDG 6, which is clean water and sanitation for all. Then also highlight the interconnectivity of water with climate, health, food, energy, and equality. And I really want us to think much about, especially this point 3, because water drives a lot of sectors. Just the same way we'll say that we need oxygen to survive. Also, a human needs a number of days before without water before they succumb. And it's the same thing with all other ecosystems, all other sectors that we're dealing with. When you're thinking about food, you need water to make the food. You need the water to clean the dishes. In terms of energy, hydroelectric power is derived from water. Without that water, we wouldn't be unable to generate power. Without underground water sources, we will be unable to generate geothermal energy in terms of steam. So thinking about it, water is a resource that we should be able to protect as individuals and also as human beings as well. Then another major purpose is also to inspire actionable change through knowledge and also exchange networking. So why is World Water Week a vital platform for solving challenges? It is because, as I mentioned, it brings all different stakeholders into one place where we can all be able to think, discuss, and get to make solutions that will be able to change our future in terms of how we are able to manage and utilize our water. So this cuts across policymakers, students, engineers, literally because we all get to use this water. So our key partners in terms of this will be now the Stockholm International Water Institute, which is actually the founding body in 1991, then the UN, World Bank, UNESCO, national governments, development agencies, NGOs, academic institutions, private sectors, and we can name a lot because when you're thinking about it as a whole ecosystem, then we are all part and responsibility for managing and utilizing proper use of our water sources as well. So I'll talk about a brief of 2025 World Water Week, and the theme, if you can all remember this, was water for climate action. And this brought about number of 13,000 participants from 188 countries, and this was explored way before the COP30, and I believe it was around November thereabout. And this is actually why World Water Week is important because SIWI is, as an organization, and even the different stakeholders were able to come up with themes that we are able to look into and see how we are able to change or ensure that we have a different direction from them. So the CTA on this, after all of this was done, was just encouraging stakeholders to implement the insights that they were able to gain from the session, and then advocation in terms for ongoing dialogue and partnerships now beyond the World Water Week. So now coming to this year themes, 2026. 2026 is more on water for people and progress. And this year, World Water Week is running from the 23rd, actually in the next 3 days, to the 27th of August 2026. And this is centered towards to reflect now the global agenda. And this program on water security as well and safety also helps and aligns with the UN 2026 UNDP report, and the gender that will be a prominent topic as well. So looking into the theme that was in last year, the Water for Climate Action. What has been able to change into this year is the Water for People and Progress. So, World Water Week, World Water Webinar is something that we can all be able to participate in. We might not be able to all go in Sweden, but we can be able to participate online. So on the left side, you can see like a registration form, so you can register to. If you have the finances, you can be able to go and represent us physically, but we can also participate by following through what is being discussed throughout the 3 days, 23rd to 27th, 4 days online. So there has been a program that has been live since the 3rd of June. And once you are able to register, or once you register on this form, actually it's a form on the World Water webinar. So it's not on our platform, but you'll be able to communicate, engage with also other individuals across the globe that have registered as well. So what would you be able to look out for, especially in oncoming sessions? Because I believe that they have good sessions where we are able to learn from, especially from experiences on other individuals in other organization countries as well. So when I'll share these slides with you so that you can be able to quickly go through and go through the links. But all of this program is available on their official website, which is the World Water Organization. And there are some sessions not confirmed, but on the sessions that are confirmed, we have bridging watershed management with water and sanitation services. So just free programs that are able to upskill you in terms of getting to understand what is being talked about in other sectors and areas in the world. And then there is also now this AI and water dependency, inequality, geopolitical risk across now the AI supply chain. And then now on Africa and East Africa focus, we also now have this as well. So on your free time, you can choose to go through it. So UN 2026 Water Conference. And now this is where the World Water Week offers a tool that helps people achieve and aims and to solve most of humanity's most pressing problems. Because as I had said before, this organization needs to work in tandem, and SIWI particularly is unable to do that without external partners, and that's why each and every goal and step is aligned towards now the UN 2030 agenda and its SDGs as well. So as we all know, SDG 6 is safe, equitable water that can be used by everyone. And that is what we really want, for us to get to have water sources that we are able to utilize on our daily needs. So on the 2026 UN Water Conference, there were 6 interactive dialogues that were adopted, and this was back in last year, 2025. So, and these are the themes that we are actually looking into, especially in the SIWI platform. So, water for people, where human rights to water and sanitation. Nobody in this world is supposed to not have access to such. Then water prosperity. So water, energy, the food nexus, sustainable water resource management. And give an example, especially on Nairobi River, but maybe allow me to do that at the end. But water for prosperity cuts across all sectors on water sources. Then water for planet. We do understand that if today all our lakes go, not lakes, but oceans, if they go dry, then we are in a deep trouble because water affects climate, it affects biodiversity, resilience, and also disaster risk reduction. And then water for cooperation, um, water for multilateral processes, as well as now investments for water, which is now in the financing, technology, innovation, and now capacity building. So last year we had the COP30, which was an agenda that was held in Belém, Brazil, and this was a continuation of the Water Week and the climate agenda that the World Water Week helped to build. So this year as well, the World Water Week will also carry now that momentum forward towards now the COP31 and also the 2026 UN Water Conference as well. So what have we been seeing ever since the COP 2028? We're now heading towards COP 31, but there are three sectors that has been popping up each and every year, which is protecting and restoring now the freshwater ecosystems, building water resilient food systems, and now accelerating urban water resilience. So you as a young individual, I would want you to think especially along these three sectors, and there are um, a lot of opportunities for us to engage in, especially in this space. So this is just a page where you will be able to engage in terms of driving policy, ensuring that people get equitable access to safe drinkable water. So there is the YSPC, junior rapporteurs, volunteer assistants, water in communications, but I'll share this so that you can look more into it at your own time. So thank you for your time and your attention. However, I would like to highlight a sector on now this protecting and restoring freshwater ecosystems before we break. So is there any question before I wind up towards this now the next session? Okay, if no question or insight, I think I would now give a brief of what we are experiencing here, especially in the Kenyan context. So we do understand that water is an important aspect in our community. And looking now into how the water sector, especially in our context here as Kenyan citizens, and I'll give Nairobi River as an example, basically because this has been an area where organization groups try to get into but are unable, majorly because of situations that are out of their control. So looking into the Nairobi River, What we have today is about 2,400 tons of the river going towards the Indian Ocean. So these are rivers that tributaries that feed the main Tana River that goes down to the ecosystem towards Indian Ocean, and it has a lot of impact towards lives and communities for people living in areas around the river sources. So 1953, the there was a dam. The dam was Nairobi Dam, but it was a clean dam, and this dam had Europeans and foreigners, because those were the people who came to were there then and colonizing us, but it was used for recreational activities such as sailing, swimming, and there was a vibrant life on the Nairobi Dam ecosystem. But looking at how 1953 and where we are in 2026, sad to say, and I know most of you understand and have seen the effect of what pollution has done to our dam and rivers as well. So looking into how it was in 1953 and how it is now, the the change is not good, and that is what we as young individuals must understand and mitigate. So earlier in the year, in 2026, we had floods in the country, and there were other individuals who wanted to go away with the dam on basis that they will be able to create a better development area and bring up homes and yeah, things like that. But the only good thing that WRA did was ensure that that is not done, because it would have affected tens of thousands of people living downstream. The dams also help in terms of flood mitigation as well, but the only problem is now our dams and rivers are highly polluted with sewage and solid waste that come from industries, as well as now even residential areas that live on the areas. So a recent report or talk on the social media was what enabled us to look in deeply into this issue, because initially, and we do understand, ever since over 35 years, Nairobi water has been polluted with sewage waste, and this water gets finds its way to the Indian Ocean, and it covers over 2,300 kilometers. Over, sorry, 160 kilometers um, going towards the ocean, meaning that along that path, all those people are using that same water that is being polluted upstream. So even looking into it as a problem on a society level, um, us as individuals, we must be able to understand the effect that we're bringing into the society, despite us not being developers and development agents that are doing the actual spilling and polluting to the river sources. Small actions such as um, littering as well contributes towards now the quality of water and the quality of life downstream. So just a small gist, some people claim it's not yet confirmed, but people claim that around Masinga they start feeling a foul smell on the normal water, which is quite devastating and quite sad when you consider that where those river passes, these people depend on the water. They do not have access to maybe drilled borehole water or clean water that is provided by the county government. And most come and fetch the water from the river, but the pollution seems to have increased exponentially up to a point that there is a lot of people being affected on the downstream side. So that is just a thought for you. But now looking into what we are being um, told, especially in these coming months here in Kenya. So the El Nino 2026 and the forecast, which is now adding urgency, they've said that it might be one of the biggest flooding or El Nino that we might have. But how are we as a community able to mitigate that? Currently, even in our society, we do not think about the drainage system. We we only think about it whenever the problem has occurred. But it's a point to note because you can see that I only have 5 minutes and I only want to take much of your time. Anyway, what I really wanted to share all on this is whenever we have, let's say, river sources, let's say like the Tana River, it has the catchment area, and this catchment area is where the water is being produced, or water is the source of the water. But if I'm the person living in the upper Tana catchment and I pollute directly to this river, then that means that every other person downstream will be able to feel the effect. And that's on the Nairobi River and the dam that I've just given an example. And now what we now currently hearing or seeing on the Masinga to Kiambere, and even now the Lower Tana Delta. So even us as individuals as well must be able to understand the effects that we have on our community and our environment, because I might not have the use of water at this time, and I might feel like okay, it's going to the ocean, but in reality is that some people along that chain are using the water. And if I can give an example, when Ethiopia were building their dam, Egypt had a real big problem in terms of how how much water are they going to get to irrigate their lands. So even us as individuals, and as what I've been seeing recently, is that Kenyans are unable to use Lake Victoria water because of some treaty that was signed way back in order to mitigate the effect that maybe people on the downstream might face in terms of getting less and less water, because approximately whenever we build a dam, 20% is being cut um, on the outlet. So questions that I will really want you as an individual to go with, but if you have an answer, you can pop it up in the chat. So if Nairobi sewerage coverage is a real constraint, what will it take to close the gap rather than keep patching the rivers downstream of it? Second question on if Nairobi Dam was restored rather than decommissioned for its flood value. what will make that restoration actually hold this time. And last question was, now with a strong El Nino forecast on October to December, what will real preparedness look like for communities downstream of Masinga and along the Tana beyond the evacuation warnings? So thank you everyone for attending the session. Sorry for the hiccups that we had initially, but I would maybe like to have a few questions or recommendations within the next 5 minutes, so that I can let you guys go to do whatever you want to do in the afternoon. Thank you. Anyone with any question, recommendation that you want to put out before our World Water Week? Thank you, Martin. And I know maybe most of us might be new, especially on this. So the World Water Week is beginning, I think, on the 23rd to 27th, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, I will be sharing the link to maybe the participants. Hopefully, I'll be able to share with all, so that in case you would want to follow through with the program, you might not be able to do it physically, but you can be able to register and view it online. So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for your time, and hope to see you in the next session that we'll be discussing very soon. So have a good day, everyone. Thank you.